for inviting me back. I'm not always invited back. I saw Mary Jane fanning herself after seeing that Asian game athlete. I understand. I sympathize. It'll take a little time to recover. Today's topic is red. So I'm going to start with the color. We attribute different emotions to different colors. Green is greed or go. Black is formal, forbidding, or chic. Even the same color has different meaning to us in different places and different contexts. So what do you feel when you see the color red? Anger, love, lust, power. Those are all qualities that have traditionally been associated with red. What do you link it to? And I'd like to call on Doug. Wear the red shirt.
Mr. Tabletop Master, fellow Toastmasters, and you out there in video land. The color red, it's the root chakra. It's where we're grounded with. It is the reason we love. It is the reason we hate. It's very passionate, very primal, very instinctual color and feeling. It has good attributes and it has bad attributes. Being in control, using your energy for perhaps more intellectual efforts is a good thing. The problem is most people don't get there. Most people, they get dissed. They get angry. They start hating. And you know what happens when you hate? 30% of your mind just shuts off. Whoop! 30%. Who has 30% to spare? Not me. So stay focused, share the love, remind each other what's important, think from time to time, even when you're playing video games. Thank you.
Thank you for that stirring speech, Doug. The formal... Oh, I'd like to call on someone. Let's see. I'll call on Sean. The formal uniform of the United States Marine Corps is among the most iconic uniforms in the world. Among its features are a distinctive blood stripe, a red stripe that goes along the side. Marine tradition holds that the stripe commemorates men killed in the Battle of Chapultepec in 1847. How do you use colors and designs to honor or to commemorate something important to you?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. A very confusing and hard question. Considering the topic of colors to represent something important to you, my favorite color is blue and white. I think it just looks aesthetically very pleasing. Blue is always very calming. Red is more brash, more bold. Like Superman, he's a combination of the two. In my own wardrobe, to be honest, I never even pick my own clothes. I always have a friend walk with me and say, does this look nice? Does that look nice? And I say, okay, I'll choose that one. And only when they force me to buy something new is when I do. If I had to design something, again, I would always go to a friend. So my personal color, in that essence, has to be a color of friendship. And I wonder, what is that color of friendship? I don't know. Maybe it's a rainbow. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Atia, if there were a red carpet event in your honor, what would you be honored or famous for?
Thank you, Mr. Toast. Wait.
Table
topics. If there was a red carpet event, I would be honored for being avant-garde, of course. And I would be avant-garde in
She's not leaving.
Motivation. And motivation and helping people. And they would say that I was a caring and loyal leader who inspired people and inspired those that I work with and my group and my team to be better at what they're doing. And so I will be recognized in maybe a humanitarian award because I'm an avant-garde humanitarian. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, that's a great tie-in to another question. There's a brand, it's known as Product Red, and they do tie-ins with big brands like Nike and Apple to promote AIDS research, helping people out who are suffering from AIDS. But it's controversial because some people say, oh, you shouldn't spend all that money on marketing. People should just donate directly instead of buying a $600 iPhone and having $10 of it go to the actual charity and the rest going to Apple. And others say that this is worthy because it's raising money, and maybe that money would not have been raised if they hadn't done this. So Martin, what do you think? Should companies run these sorts of campaigns? Ethical consumerism?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Table Topics Master. I think that in general, a lot of the things that are done in the name of charity are a waste of money and a waste of time. I think that, well, things that are done to promote charity are a waste of money and a waste of time. I believe in more direct and, I guess not avant-garde, but old-fashioned ways of charity, of people directly helping each other, of sending actual items, gifts, of going and visiting places where people need help, of just directly donating to foundations, or not foundations, but the hospitals, the groups that are doing research for especially cancer and AIDS research and all sorts of disease remedies. And I think that our culture has gone a little too far in the way of marketing and advertising these sorts of campaigns and activities. And I especially don't like that there's not actually a lot of accountability by a lot of the foundations and companies who purport to raise money for such activities. For example, the group that was raising, the Bush Clinton Foundation that was raising for the Haitian earthquake disaster, never actually filed any of the documentation describing how much money they got and how much they actually spent on helping the people in Haiti. So we don't actually know how many millions they raised and what probably big percentage of it went just to the trustees or the board of that foundation. So I think that a lot more accountability has to happen. I think a lot more transparency is called for, and I think that the way to do that is not to go into marketing and advertising causes, but to actually get to the depth of, to the point of them. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you. That's terrific answers, very thoughtful, and you've clearly considered this topic before in some form. Mary Jane, do you ever get red in the face and is embarrassed in public? Is embarrassment a familiar or foreign emotion to you? If you're willing to share, recount a time when you felt embarrassed.
Oh, Lord. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. When you first said red in the face, I thought, I'm too dark to get red. I actually just get browner. And a lot of Asian people know this, but when you drink, there's something called the Asian glow. And I don't get that either. I just get darker. I get see? Embarrassment is not an unfamiliar feeling to me. I actually welcome it, and most of you know that it's so much so a part of my personality. But there's this gentleman on this project that I work with, and everyone pokes fun at me and teases me, and he said I'm not a good sport. I am good sport. I am fun to poke at and pick at, and it's just something that I'm okay with. And so as far as embarrassment go, I'm always embarrassed, but I think that I've come to accept it and embrace it. And no, I do not get red in the face. Like I said, if I change any other color besides my bronzer color, who I did not watch that YouTube video, by the way, what was my... See, I think I've had a lot of moments in this actual room where I've been embarrassed, so I'm the perfect person to ask, and now this is the worst table topics I've ever done. Thank you, table topics master. And my voice is croaking.
Mission accomplished. That was exactly the response I was going for. No, not really, but... Helen, people frequently complain about red tape, about needless obstacles imposed by faceless bureaucracies. Northrop actually has an initiative to eliminate red tape with their Busting Bureaucracy webpage and organization. If everyone seems to hate it, why do you think red tape exists? What purpose is it serving, and should we always get rid of it?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that very hard question. I will just talk from my personal experience. I do not know that much about the Northrop Grumman hotline or the bureaucracy, the red tape that's in place right now. But from my own personal experience, one time, a long time ago, I was very, very sick. And at that time, I had HMO insurance. This is back in Austin, Texas. And in HMO insurance, you have to go through the proper system of getting everything approved by your primary care doctor before you could go to the hospital or go to a specialist. So I had some kind of parasite illness. I was so sick for the first 2 or 3 days, I couldn't even hold water down. I think I lost like 10 pounds in 2 or 3 days. I was very, very sick, and I wasn't getting better, but I had this really old primary care doctor. He didn't know what was wrong with me. He had to go to his office to look up in books and figure out what was wrong with me. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, you're not too dehydrated yet." He wouldn't send me to the ER. And finally, my husband got so frustrated and told the doctor, "Look, if you're not going to approve sending her to a specialist, we're just going to have to pay out of our own pocket because she's so sick." So after that incident, he did finally approve for me to go see a specialist, and I started getting better after I saw the specialist. But because of that bureaucracy and red tape, if that doctor wouldn't approve my life, someone's life could be on the line because they can't get the proper approvals to get the treatment they needed. So in that instance, I think bureaucracy was terrible. So after I got better, I wrote a 3-page letter to my insurance to complain. And they got out of that insurance company the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that covers everyone. I still have more questions if you'd like to continue. Up to you.
Sure, we got time.
Okay.
There's people like that who would love to speak.
All right. Well, I'll start with you, Martin. I found a great phrase with the word red. A red rag to a bull. Matadors would have a red banner that they'd use to anger a bull into charging them. And then hopefully they would try to stab the bull as it passed. Actually, Ernest Hemingway wrote a book entirely about bullfighting. It's a great read. And so this phrase, a red rag to a bull, means to intentionally infuriate or annoy someone and provoke them, in reference to the Matadors. On the internet, people often call this trolling. Do you ever troll people? Is provoking something you enjoy or something you seek to avoid? Do you relish confrontation or avoid it?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that perfect question. In some ways, I am an internet troll. And in ways that I think mostly my friends know about and not anonymous random people on the internet. But I do like to troll people in the senses of pointing out mistakes, especially grammatical, spelling, punctuation, proper formatting of things. Especially on chat. which is probably, or text, which is probably the medium that's least expected to have those things. I very often point out to a lot of my friends when they make mistakes, and mostly it's pretty hilarious. Mary Jane has been on the receiving end of quite a few of these in the Toastmasters email threads that we have going back and forth when she makes a small spelling mistake and I point it out. So I do enjoy that camaraderie aspect of trolling. I don't do it really to anger people, I just do it more, as they say, for the lulz, which is for the laughs of it. But I do understand that there is that kind of culture of trying to purposefully anger people, especially people who are very dignified, distinguished, and who normally don't get very angry. I don't think that's a particularly good use of anyone's time. So I don't like that culture in general, and while I don't really promote it, I can't say that I haven't considered how potentially hilarious it is at times. Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Expander.
Thank you. I anticipate that we would have an actual real-life troll amongst us. And generally we do.
One more.
This one is not that great. So I'll just end it there. Thank you for being a cooperative audience.
All right, thank you very much.